I'm due for a win. I convinced myself. The casino took $14,600. My name is Tommy. I'm 32, work construction like my dad did, and I used to have an envelope marked rent in blue pen. 3 months ago, my girlfriend showed me our first ultrasound. Today, she's back with her parents, and I'm at a different casino, playing $5 tables that IT started with Tuesday nights, just a few hours after work to decompress. I had a system. Mathematical. I kept track of everything in notebooks. 1. Some early hands that made me feel sharp. Then September became October, and the envelope changed from rent to bills to nothing at all. I'd sit at third base, same spot every time, telling myself the law of averages had to kick in. My girlfriend would call from our apartment, asking when I'd be home. 20 more minutes, baby. I'm up $40. I was down 300. The payday loan apps made it easy. 600 here, 400 there. All for one good night that would fix everything. The dealer knew my name. The pit boss comped me buffets I never used. I kept my father's prayer card in my wallet. He died. Broke. But at least he knew when to walk away. I didn't. When a father-to-be keeps betting his family's future on the next hand, what runs out first? The money, the faith, or the time before the baby comes? I'm Tommy. He arranged his chips in stacks of 5, a tell that he liked control. Usually I don't do this kind of thing, but work's been stressful. Baby, coming in all. Figured I could use a little fun, you know? Plus, I've got a system. They all have systems. After 6 months of dealing, I'd heard them all. The martingale doublers, the card counters who couldn't count, the lucky number believers. Tommy's system was assuming the dealer's hidden card was always a 10. Basic mathematics, he said, tapping his temple. Probability. I dealt the first hand. Him, king and 6. Me, 7 showing. Dealers got 17, he announced. I stay on 16. I flipped my whole card. A 4. Drew a queen. 21. Shit. He pushed forward another chip. See, that's the thing. Short term, anything can happen. Long term, the math works out. 3 hands later, he was down 60. Ordered a Coors Light from the cocktail waitress. A tired-looking woman named Brenda who'd been working these floors since before I was born. Tommy tipped her $5, way too much for a free drink. Another tell, generous tippers are often the worst at managing money. My dad used to gamble, he said, doubling down on 11 against my 6. Died broke, but he always said he knew when to walk away. That's the secret, right? Knowing when to stop. I dealt him a 9. 20. Finally, a winning hand. There we go. He clapped once, sharp and loud. See? Mathematics. Wayne, the pit boss, drifted over. Wayne had this way of moving like smoke, appearing wherever money was changing hands. Ex-player himself, got smart and switched sides 10 years ago. Now he lived in the casino's employee apartment complex, never more than 5 minutes from the floor. Everything good here, Marcus? Wayne asked, but he was looking at Tommy, scanning him like a grocery store barcode, calculating lifetime value, loss tolerance, addiction potential. Great, Tommy said, stacking his winnings. Just getting started. Wayne smiled the way a spider might smile at a fly testing the web. First time with us? Yes, sir. Well, welcome to Riverside. Let me get you set up with our Players Club. Earn points toward free meals, hotel stays, all kinds of perks. Tommy hesitated for half a second, then shrugged. Sure, why not? Wayne produced the application form like a magician pulling scarves. Tommy filled it out right there at the table, the pen hovering over the income box for just a moment before he wrote something down. I'll be back in 20, he told me, checking his phone. 3 missed calls from someone named Melissa. Just 20 more minutes. He stayed until 2 a.m. The break room smelled like burnt coffee and disappointment. Every casino break room does. It's where dealers count their tips and remember they're not players, just the house's hands that I spread my night's tips across the scratch table. $127, mostly 5s and 1s. Tommy had tipped 50 when he hit that. Late night blackjack. Guilt money, probably. He'd been down 300 by then, but winners tip like the money isn't real. Because to them, in that moment, it isn't. Denise walked in, still in her dealer's vest, but with her bow tie hanging. Loose like a surrender flag. 18 years she'd been dealing, and it showed in the permanent squint lines around her eyes from watching cards under casino lights. Your boy Tommy's a sinker, she said, pouring coffee that looked like motor oil. You were watching? I watch everyone. It's either that or go crazy from boredom. She sat down heavy, the chair creaking. Tuesday night players are the worst kind. Know what? I shook my head, still sorting my bills by denomination. Because they're lying to someone. Weekend players, that's their entertainment budget. Day players, they're retired or on vacation. But Tuesday night, that's someone who's supposed to be somewhere else. Tuesday night is overtime hours, marriage counseling, night school. Tuesday night is, honey, I've got to work late. She pulled out a small notebook from her vest pocket, pages soft from handling. I keep track sometimes. The ones that concern me. I wasn't sure what to say. Kind of creepy. It's survival. You watch them go down, or they take you with them. I had a player once, Robert Chun. Software engineer, 2 kids. Started with hundreds, ended with his kids' college funds. Took 2 years to complete the cycle. I've got it all here, every visit, every loss, every lie he told at my table. She flipped through pages covered in neat handwriting. Dates, amounts, observations. September 2019, claims wife knows he's here. October 2019, wedding ring in pocket. December 2019, crying in bathroom after losing $2,000. Jesus, Denise. My brother Gary was a gambler. She said it flat, like stating the weather. Lost his house, his family, eventually his life. Heart attack at 41, stress from running from creditors. So yeah, I keep notes. Reminds me what we're really doing here. The security guard, Mike, stuck his head in. Your Tommy's still in the parking lot. Been sitting in his car for 20 minutes. Probably calling his girlfriend, I said. Explaining why he's getting home at 2:30. Or counting what's left, Denise added. They always count what's left, like the money might multiply if they touch it enough. Mike shrugged. Just saying. Sometimes they come back in. Think they can win it back before anyone notices it's gone. He's done for tonight, I said. Lost. Enough. Denise laughed, but it sounded like coughing. Oh, honey, they're never done. Tomorrow he'll think about the hands he should have played different. By Thursday, he'll have convinced himself he was one bet away from breaking even. Come next Tuesday, he'll be back with another envelope. Want to bet on it? She pulled out. A 20. Says he's back next week. Same table, different envelope. You're betting on a gambling addict gambling? Safest bet in the house. I matched her 20. Part of me wanted her to be wrong. Tommy had seemed different, self-aware, controlled. He had a kid coming. He'd talked about his father's mistakes like he'd learned from them. The casino keeps stats, you know, Denise said. Player retention metrics. We get bonuses if our regulars keep coming back. Wayne probably already ran Tommy's credit, knows his income, his debts, his limits. That player's club card isn't about free buffets. It's about knowing exactly how much blood they can draw without killing the host. That's dark. That's business. We're not dealing cards, Marcus. We're dealing hope. False hope, but hope nonetheless. And hope's more addictive than any drug they've invented. Through the break room window, I could see the parking lot. Tommy's car was still there, exhaust visible in the cool September air, running the heater while he sat, maybe practicing his story, maybe counting that envelope one more time. I should go tell him the odds, I said. Explain house edge. Make sure he understands. Don't. Denise grabbed my wrist, gentle but firm. That's not your job. Your job is to deal cards and make tips. You start caring about players, you'll burn out in a year. Trust me, I've seen dealers try to save people. You know what happens? The players find another table, and the dealer loses their job. She let go, stood up. Besides, they don't want to be saved. They want to believe. Next Tuesday, when he comes back, watch his face when he sits down. That moment right before the first bet, that's the only piece some of them get. The possibility that this time, the math might break their way. The next Tuesday, Tommy would walk in with an envelope that said bills. Denise would win her $20. September 21st, Tommy's anniversary, he'd told me. 5 years together, not married yet, but working on it. The ring would come after the baby. He'd explained the week before, when things were more stable. He showed up at 9:15, alone. The envelope said bills now, with rent crossed out underneath. Like a confession he couldn't quite erase. He smoothed it against the felt the same way, but his hands shook a little. Caffeine, maybe. Or maybe not. Melissa couldn't make it, he said before I could ask. Morning sickness hit hard today. She's home with ginger tea and Netflix. Anniversary, though. I said, shuffling. Sure she's okay with you being here? He touched his wedding band. Not a wedding band, I realized, just a silver ring on that finger. Twisted it twice. She understands. I work hard, 60 hours last week. Man needs to decompress. First hand, 15 against my 10 showing. He hit. Busted with a 9. Fuck. Then, quieter, sorry. Just, the last week's been rough. Rough how? Dad wants me to take over more of the business. His back's getting worse. But taking over means buying in, and that's 30 grand I don't have. Not with the baby coming. He placed another bet, 25 this time instead of his usual 20. Melissa's dad offered to loan it to us. Can you imagine? Taking money from her parents? I'd never hear the end of it. I dealt. 20 for him, 18 for me. Finally, a win. There we go. See, just needed to warm up. He stacked the chips, kept 2 in his hand like worry stones. My dad would have loved this place. He played at the old Flamingo downtown before they tore it down. Used to take me sometimes, let me watch from behind the rope. Tommy, he'd say, the secret is knowing when you're beat. Smart man. Dead man. Heart attack at 58. They found lottery tickets in his jacket at the funeral home. Unscratched. Tommy laughed, but it caught in his throat. Mom wanted to bury them with him. I said no, scratched them myself. Won $4. His phone buzzed. Melissa. He let it ring through to voicemail. She worries, he said. Thinks I'm turning into my dad. But I'm not, I've got limits. I've got control. He'd brought 600 tonight. By 11 p.m., he was down at 200. His coffee had gone cold, forgotten at his elbow. The concrete, dust on his boots had transferred to the floor rail, leaving ghostly footprints that would be vacuumed away at dawn. Maybe call it a night, I suggested during a shuffle. Wayne was watching from the pit, had been for an hour, keeping track of the count, the losses, the pattern. Can't. Not down this much. Tommy pulled out his phone, opened an app one recognized. Speedy Cash, one of those payday loan places that advertised on bus stops. Just need a little cushion to work with. Those interest rates, I know what I'm doing. He showed me the screen. $600 approved, instantly transferred. I'll pay it back Friday when I get paid. No big deal. His phone rang again. This time he answered. Hey, baby. Yeah, still here. I'm actually up a little. He turned away from the table, lowering his voice. Maybe $40. Just a few more. Hands okay? I promise. I could hear her voice through the phone, thin and worried. Tommy's free hand clenched and unclenched. I said I promise. Have I ever? Okay, that was different. Look, I'll be home in an hour. Yes, an hour. Love you too. He hung up, immediately pushed forward 50 in chips. Deal. I gave him 11. Dealer. Showed 6. Perfect double-down scenario, his system's sweet spot. Double, he said, adding another 50. I dealt him a 10. 21. The table erupted. Well, the 2 other players anyway. Tommy just stared at his cards like they might disappear. Finally, he breathed. Finally. He tipped me 20 and played 3 more hands, winning 2. Up to almost 400 now, still down for the night, but climbing. His phone buzzed with texts he didn't read. You know what? He stood suddenly, gathering his chips. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Melissa's right. It's our anniversary. I felt relief wash over me. Good call. But then he sat back down. Actually, one more. Just one. Even it out to 400. 1 became 5. 5 became 10. The 400 became 300, then 200, then nothing. The payday loan money evaporated like it had never existed. At 2 a.m., he finally stood up. His shirt was untucked, sweat stains under the arms despite the casino's aggressive air conditioning. The envelope lay forgotten on the table, empty and accusing. I'll be back, he said. Not to me. To the table. To the cards. To the math that had betrayed him again. After he left, I found something under his chair. A receipt from Bye Bye Baby. A crib. $450, paid in installments. The payment was due next Tuesday. Tommy's wallet sat in my hand like evidence. Brown leather. Worn at the edges, stuffed thick with everything except cash. I'd found it on his chair 5 minutes after he'd left. Too late to catch him in the parking lot. At him why break wasn't for another hour. But Wayne waved me off the floor. Take 5. Check if he's still outside. The parking lot was empty except for employee cars and the overnight cleaning crew's van. Back in the break room, I opened the wallet. Not snooping, exactly. Just looking for a phone number that wasn't on his Players Club application. Driver's license. Thomas Michael Brennan, 32. The address was an apartment complex I knew, the kind. With luxury in the name, but bars on the ground floor windows. 3 credit cards, all major banks. A debit card from First National, worn from use. Business card, Brennan and Sons Construction, quality since 1987. Tommy was the son, apparently, behind. The cards, folded papers. The first was a budget, handwritten on notebook paper. Rent, $1, 400 utilities, $200 groceries, $300 gas, $150 baby supplies, $250 Melissa phone, $45 insurance, $380 at the bottom, indifferent ink. Casino minus $600, temporary. The word temporary underlined 3 times. The second paper stopped me cold. A gambler's anonymous meeting list. Downtown locations highlighted in yellow. Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Same time he came here. The paper was crisp, unfolded maybe once. Find anything interesting? Denise stood in the doorway. He left his wallet. He'll be back for it. They always come back. She looked at the papers spread on the table. GA, huh? Let me guess. Someone who loves him gave him that. He carried it to make them feel better. You don't know that. Room 5, Tuesday nights at St. Mark's. I've been going for 3 years. She poured herself coffee. Half the people there, maybe more, have those papers in their pockets. Carrying them like crosses, thinking proximity equals protection. Tommy called the casino at 11:45, voice panicked. I wasn't supposed to take personal calls on the floor, but Wayne brought me the phone. My wallet, is it there? Yeah, I've got it in the break room. Thank God. Thank God. I'm coming back. 20 minutes. He made it in 15. Hair messy, wearing sweatpants and the same work shirt from earlier. Melissa was in the car. I could see her silhouette in the passenger seat. You're a lifesaver, he said, taking the wallet. Then, looking at the tables, you know what? I've got 100 in my car. Just one hand. I mean, I'm already here. Your girlfriend's waiting. She understands. He was already walking toward my table. One hand. Win or lose, I walk. He lost. September 28th. Tommy was already down 400 when I clocked in at 8 p.m. He'd been at Sandra's table since 6. She told me during the dealer change. Bleeding steady. Switched from 20s to quarters about an hour ago. Quarter. Chips. $25 each. The jump from red to green meant he was chasing, trying to win back more with each hand. When he saw me arrive, he grabbed his chips and moved. Marcus. Thank God. Sandra's cold as ice tonight. He settled into third base, his spot. 7 missed calls showed on his phone screen. Melissa's at her sister's. Baby shower planning, or something. That was the first lie I was certain about. His tell wasn't the ring touching anymore. He'd stopped wearing it, claiming it was being resized. Now it was his left eye, a small twitch when he bent the truth. Rough week. I asked, shuffling. Father-in-law's being a prick. Offered me a loan again. 30 grand, no interest. Can you believe that? Like I'm some charity case. He bet 50. I provide for my family. My dad never took handouts. Neither will I. I dealt him 12. He hit, pulled a 9. 21. Yes. He slapped the table. See? I don't need his money. Just need my luck to turn. 3 hands later, he'd given it back, plus another 100. His stack was shrinking, and he kept checking an app on his phone. Not Speedy Cash this time. Something called Fast Funds. The balance showed $400 available. You ever feel like you're due? He asked. Like, mathematically? I've lost 6 sessions. Straight. 70-30 house edge can't hold forever. That's not how. I know how it works. His voice went sharp, then softened. Sorry. Melissa found the credit card statement. The cash advances. She doesn't understand it's an investment. Building a bankroll. His phone rang. He looked at it, declined the call. Her again? I asked. Her dad. Tommy's jaw tightened. Probably calling to offer money again. Guy owns a plumbing supply company. Thinks he's Warren Buffett. Another player, Joyce, sat down at the table. Older woman, careful with her bets. She watched Tommy push forward another 50 and shook her head slightly. You remind me of my son, she said. Yeah. Lost his house last year. Started just like you, couple hundred here and there. By the end, he was borrowing against his 401k. She placed a minimum bet. Kids moved in with their mom. Tommy's eye twitched. That's different. I've got control. Wayne appeared, smooth as always. Mr. Brennan, how's the night treating you? Getting better, Tommy lied. Good to hear. Listen, you're only 300 points from gold status. Comes with some nice perks. Cashback rewards, special tournament invites. Cashback. 1% of all play. Adds up quick for a regular like you. Tommy smiled for the first time all night. See? It's an investment. His phone rang again. This time he answered. What? No, I'm at work. Overtime. The eye twitch. The credit card? That's for baby stuff. Yeah. Look, can we talk about this later? He turned away from the table. I said later. I'll be home soon. Yes, I promise. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. Not caffeine this time. Deal, he said, pushing his remaining chips forward. About $300 that I gave him 17. I showed a 10. He stayed. I flipped a 7. His whole body sagged as I collected the chips. Empty again, but his eyes were already on his phone, calculating what he could access, what he could move, what he could promise himself he'd pay back tomorrow. She appeared at 11:47 p.m. like a ghost in the neon. 7 months pregnant by then. Moving through the casino entrance with one hand on her belly and the other holding her phone. Even from across the floor, I could see she'd been crying. Tommy saw her too. His whole body went rigid. Then he pushed back from the table so fast. His chair tipped. I'll be right back, he said. But we both knew that was another lie. I watched them meet by the slot machines. Couldn't hear the words, but the body language said everything. Her showing him her phone, bank statement, probably. Him gesturing toward the exit, trying to guide her out. Her shoulders shaking. Him reaching for her hand. Her pulling away. An older couple playing slots turned to stare. Tommy noticed, tried to lower his voice, stepped closer to Melissa. She stepped back, one hand protective over her stomach. Said something that made him flinch. They moved toward the exit, still arguing. Through the glass doors, I could see them in the parking lot. Melissa got in their car, a Honda Civic with a baby on board sticker already in the window. Tommy stood by the driver's door for a long moment, then walked back inside. When he sat down at my table, his face was flushed, eyes red-rimmed. She found everything, he said quietly. The credit cards, the loans, the ATM withdrawals. All from this address. He laughed, bitter. I told her it was a different Riverside. Like there's another casino with the exact same name somewhere else. Tommy, deal the cards. You don't have any chips. He pulled out his phone, opened another app. Cash now. 2 minutes. $300, approved instantly. The ATM by the bathrooms dispensed it in 20s. He brought them to the table still warm from the machine. She's staying at her sister's. Tonight, he said, betting 50. Says she needs to think about the future. Like I'm not thinking about it every second. I dealt. He lost. Bet again. Lost. The pattern so familiar I could have dealt with my eyes closed. You know what she said? His voice was getting louder. Other players started moving to different tables. Said I'm just like my father. But I'm not. He died with nothing. I'm going to win. I have to. Maybe take a break. I suggested. Come back tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. He pushed forward 100. Rent's due in 3 days. If she goes to her parents in Indiana, she's not coming back. Wayne materialized beside the table. Everything all right, Mr. Brennan? Fine. Perfect. Deal. I looked at Wayne. He gave a small nod. Keep dealing. Customers always right until they're out of money. Tommy lasted another hour. The 300 became 200, became 100, became nothing. He sat there staring at the empty betting circle like it might refill itself through force of will. I can get more, he said. There's another app, sir. The security guard, Mike, had appeared, gentle but firm. Maybe we call it a night. Tommy didn't resist, didn't even seem to notice. He stood up like a sleepwalker, walked toward the exit. At the door, he turned back, looked at me across the casino floor. What time do you open tomorrow? He called out. 10 a.m. Wayne answered for me. Tommy nodded, pushed through the door. In the parking lot, his car was gone. Melissa had taken it. He stood there for a moment, then started walking. The nearest bus stop was 2 miles away. I dealt the rest of my shift on autopilot. When I cashed out, Denise was waiting in the break room. Saw his girlfriend, she said. How pregnant? 7 months. Jesus. She shook her head. The pregnant ones are the hardest to watch. They think the baby will fix him. like a crying infant, and no sleep and hospital bills will somehow cure a gambling addiction. Maybe she left for good. No, she'll take him back. Once, maybe twice. They always do at first. Denise pulled out her notebook, made an entry. But eventually, she'll do the math. Love divided by losses equals leaving. Just a matter of when. I thought about Tommy walking to the bus stop, phone dead, wallet empty except for that GA meeting list he'd never use. When's rock bottom? I asked. There isn't one, Denise said. That's the thing nobody understands. Rock bottom has a basement, and that basement has a sub-basement. And they'll dig as deep as the world lets them. Tomorrow, Tommy would be back. At 10 a.m. when we opened, he'd have found another app, another advance, another lie to tell himself. The cycle would continue. October hit like a cold slap. Tommy's company, Brennan and Sons, had cut everyone to 32 hours. Economic downturn, he explained. But I'd heard from another player that Tommy's father had been in the hospital. Heart problems, just like Tommy had predicted that he looked. Different now. Thinner. His work shirts hung loose, and he'd stopped getting haircuts. The concrete dust was still there, but less of it. Less work meant less money meant more desperation. Melissa's on bed rest, he told me, Tuesday night, October 5th. High blood pressure. Doctor says she needs to stay off her feet until the baby comes. That's rough. She okay? Yeah, fine. Her mom came up from Indiana to help. His eye twitched. Living in my apartment, judging everything I do. He'd brought 400 tonight, all in crumpled 20s that looked like they'd been hidden somewhere. His betting pattern had changed too. Erratic, emotional. $50 when he felt lucky, minimum bets when he didn't. No system anymore except hope. You ever think about taking a break? I asked during a shuffle. Just until the baby comes. Can't. I'm down $8,000. You don't walk away down $8,000. Where'd you? How did you? Don't worry about it. He won a hand, smiled for the first time all night. See? Turning around already. By midnight, he'd borrowed another $600 from an app called Quick Cash. The interest rates weren't even hidden anymore. 39% APR displayed right on the screen. It's fine, he said, seeing my expression. I'll pay it back when I win. Carl, the retired postal worker who'd been playing at my table since I started, finally spoke up. Kid, I've been coming here 20 years. You know what I learned? The house doesn't beat you. You beat yourself. Tommy's face went red. I didn't ask for advice. No, but you need it. I can see your girlfriend's pregnant. You think this helps her? You don't know anything about my situation. Carl shrugged, colored up his chips. I know you're signing those payday loans. I know you're lying to someone about being here. I know, because I did the same thing. Cost me my first marriage. After Carl left, Tommy was quiet for a while. Just pushing chips forward, watching them disappear, pushing more. Mechanical, like he was already dead inside. He's wrong, Tommy finally said. I'm not like him. I'm due for a win. The phrase had become his mantra. Due for a win. Like the universe kept a ledger and would eventually balance his account. His phone buzzed constantly now. Melissa, her mother, his father, work. He answered none of them. December, he said suddenly. Baby's due December 15th. That's my deadline. Win it back by then, or... He didn't finish. Or what? Or I tell Melissa everything. Take her father's loan. Move to Indiana. He said it like it was a death sentence. Become another failure in a long line of failures. That's not failure. That's getting help. He looked at me then, really looked at me. For a second, I thought I'd reached him. Then he pushed forward his last $100. Deal, he said, October 19th. Tommy arrived already drunk. Not sloppy, but loose, eyes glassy. He'd never drunk before playing. Melissa left, he announced, sitting down heavy. Went to her parents. Said she'll come back when I get help. Air quotes around the words. I'm sorry, don't be. More time to focus. No distractions. He pulled out a roll of hundreds, maybe $2,000. Borrowed against the truck. Your work truck. My truck, technically. Dad signed it over to me last year. He spread the bills on the table. $2,300. Enough to get back to even if I play smart. Wayne was watching from the pit. Had been since Tommy walked in. He made a small gesture to the cocktail waitress. Keep them coming. Maybe you should eat something, I suggested. Buffet's still open. Can't eat. Stomach's been fucked for weeks. Stress, probably. He bet 100. Or maybe it's freedom. You ever been free, Marcus? Tommy, no, really. No wife, no kid, no father-in-law trying to buy you. Just you and the cards and the beautiful mathematics of probability. I dealt. He lost. Bet again. Lost. 1-1. Lost 3. By 11 p.m. He was down to 800. The alcohol was hitting harder. He'd had 4 whiskeys on an empty stomach. His hands shook when he placed bets. You know what's funny? He wasn't talking to me anymore, just talking. I used to judge my dad. Sanctimonious little prick, I was. Why can't you just stop, Dad? Why can't you be normal? He laughed, ugly and sharp. Now I know. You can't stop because stopping means admitting you lost. And I haven't lost. I'm just behind. Another player sat down, a regular named Betty who played minimum bets and nursed 1 drink all night. She took 1 look at Tommy and moved to another table. Smart lady, Tommy called after her. Bad luck is contagious. Tommy, maybe we should deal the fucking cards. I'd never heard him swear at me before. Wayne started walking over, but I shook my head slightly. I could handle it. Tommy's phone rang. The caller ID said Dad Hospital. He answered. Yeah? Yeah, I know. Tomorrow. I said tomorrow. Pause. I can't right now. I'm working. Yes, overtime. As I didn't even twitch anymore when he lied. Tell him I love him. Tomorrow, I promise. He hung up, stared at the phone. Heart surgery, he said quietly. Tomorrow morning. Might not make it. Then go. Go be with him. With what? Show up. Broke? Prove I'm exactly the disappointment he always thought I was. He pushed forward 200. I need to win something. Anything. Just so I can look him in the eye. I dealt him 20. Finally. He stayed. I had 19. Yes. He actually stood up. Yes. See. He let the chips sit there for a moment, like he was memorizing what winning felt like. Then pushed them all forward. Tommy, don't let it ride. I dealt him 13. Hit. 10. Bust. He stared at the cards for a long moment, then swept them off the table. They fluttered to the floor like dying birds. Mike the security guard started over. I'm fine. Tommy said, hands up. I'm fine. I'm leaving. He stood, swaying slightly. $600 left in his pocket. At the door, he turned back. If I don't come back, he called out, tell Melissa. He stopped. Never mind. She already knows. The next Tuesday, his chair was empty. I learned later his father survived the surgery. Tommy wasn't there for it. Halloween came and went. Tommy missed 2 Tuesdays in a row. I actually started to hope. Maybe his father's surgery had been a wake-up call. Maybe Melissa had given him an ultimatum. Maybe he'd finally hit that bottom Denise claimed didn't exist. Then November 2nd, he was back. Same chair, same time, but everything else had changed. He'd lost maybe 20 pounds. His clothes were wrinkled, hair unwashed. The concrete dust was gone. No more work clothes at all, just jeans and a Packers sweatshirt I'd never seen before. Hey, Marcus. His voice was hoarse. Miss me. Tommy, you okay? Never better. He pulled out an envelope. No writing on it this time. Company laid me off. Gave me 2 weeks severance. Funny thing about severance, it's exactly what it sounds like. Severing. He counted out $600. This is it. All of it. Either I multiply this or nothing. There is no or. He developed new tells in his absence. Scratching his neck until it was red. Tapping his foot constantly. Checking his phone every 30 seconds even though it never rang anymore. Heard from Melissa? I asked. She's in Indiana. Sent divorce papers last week. Wants them signed before the baby comes. He bet 50. Can't blame her. Her dad was right about me. I wanted to refuse to deal to him. Wanted to call security, have him escorted out for his own good. But that wasn't my job. My job was to deal cards that he lost the first 120 minutes. 150 back. Lost that too. The pattern was almost boring now, predictable as a metronome. You know what I realized? He said around 1 a.m., down to his last 200. I'm not a gambler. Gamblers quit when they're ahead. I'm just an addict. It was the first honest thing he'd said in months. There's help, GA? Yeah, I went. Once. Sat in the back, listened. To people cry about losing houses, families, jobs. And you know what I thought? I thought, I'm not that bad yet. He laughed. Yet. Like it was a goal. His phone buzzed. A text. He showed it to me. Baby kicked today. Thought you should know. His eyes filled with tears he quickly wiped away. December 15th, he said. 6 weeks. I won't even meet my kid. You could. If you stopped now, with what? Show up empty-handed? No job, no money, no home. What kind of father is that? A present one. He looked at me for a long moment, then pushed forward his last chips. All in, he said. Let fate decide. I dealt him 19. I had 20 that he didn't react. Just stood up, put on his coat. That's it then, he said. That's the whole story. Guy loses everything exactly like everyone said he would. He headed for the door. In his chair, he'd left something behind, a photo. Ultrasound. The same one he'd shown me that first night, now creased and worn from handling that I kept it. Still have it. A reminder of what we really deal at these tables. November went dark after that. Tommy became a ghost story we told in the break room. Remember that construction guy? Wonder what happened to him. I knew what happened. He was at the tribal casino 40 miles north, playing $5 tables with money he got from selling plasma twice a week. Another dealer told me, guy named Raymond who worked both places. Saw your boy there, Raymond said. Looking rough. Real rough. Then, November 30th, he walked back in.it was 2 a.m., last hour of my shift. He looked homeless because he basically was, sleeping in his truck, the one he'd borrowed against, and somehow hadn't lost yet. Layers of clothes, all dirty. Smell of someone who'd given up on basic maintenance. I know I can't play, he said, standing at my empty table. I needed to see it again. See what? Where it happened. Where I destroyed my life. He touched the felt gently, like it was a gravestone. 6,000 for 100 here. Another 8,000 at other places. 14,600 total. That's what a father's worth, apparently. Tommy, she had the baby. 2 weeks early. November 28th. Black Friday. He pulled out his phone, showed me a picture someone had sent him. Tiny pink face in a hospital blanket. Rebecca, 7 pounds, 2 ounces, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and a father she'll never know. You could still, what? Show up? Hi, I'm your dad who chose cards over you. He put the phone away. Melissa's new boyfriend has a good job. Insurance. Normal person shit. New boyfriend. Guy. From high school. Been helping her since she moved back. He shrugged. Better for everyone. Wayne had noticed Tommy, started walking over. Not threatening, just watching. I should go, Tommy said. Just wanted to see it one more time. The table where I had everything and threw it away. Where will you go? Meeting. Midnight GA meeting for the real fuck-ups. He almost smiled. Turns out I finally qualified for the back row. He started to leave, then stopped. Marcus, can I ask you something? Do you ever feel guilty? Dealing to people like me? I thought about lying. Saying it was just a job, that people made their own choices. Instead, I told the truth. Every day. Good, he said. That's good. Means you're still human. He left then, walking out into the November cold. I watched him cross the parking lot to a truck that barely started, exhaust sputtering black smoke. That MY shift ended an hour later. In the break room, Denise was updating her notebook. Saw Tommy, she said. Yeah, he'll be back. Not to play, but to torture himself. They do that sometimes in early recovery. Visit the scene of the crime. Maybe he'll make it. Maybe. She closed the notebook. But probably not. Statistics are what they are. 90% relapse rate. And the ones with kids, the guilt eats them alive. Either they gamble to forget the guilt, or they. She didn't finish. Or they what? Or they find other ways to stop the pain. I thought about Tommy in that truck, driving toward a midnight. Meeting his daughter's picture on his phone, $14,600 in the hole with no way out. Should we do something? I asked. Like what? We're dealers, Marcus. We're not therapists or heroes or friends. We're the house. And the house always wins. She was right. The house always wins. But sometimes, I still dream about that ultrasound photo, the one Tommy left behind. Wonder if Rebecca ever asks about her father. Wonder if Melissa tells her the truth or makes up something kinder. Wonder if Tommy ever made it to that meeting, December 3rd. The night everything collapsed. Tommy had been gone a week when he showed up at 8 p.m. sharp. Clean-shaven, hair cut, wearing clothes that actually fit. For a second, I felt hope. Don't worry, he said, seeing my expression. I'm not playing. 34 days clean. That's great, Tommy. Is it? He sat at third base, his old spot, but kept his hands flat on the table. I went to that meeting. Then another. Got a sponsor. Guy named Frank who lost his dental practice to blackjack. Other players were giving us looks. A guy sitting at a blackjack table not playing was bad luck. They thought. Melissa let me see Rebecca, he continued. Supervised. 1 hour in a McDonald's. She grabbed my finger with her whole hand. Tiny fingers, like a doll's. That must have been perfect. It was perfect. His voice cracked, which made it worse. Knowing what I threw away for. He gestured at the cards. For this. Wayne approached. Sir, if you're not playing, I'm leaving. Tommy stood. Just needed to tell Marcus something. He pulled out an envelope. Same kind he used to bring, but thicker. $14,600, he said. That's what I owe. Various places. Frank says I need to face the number. Write it down. Look at it every day. Inside the envelope were payment plans. Payday loans, credit cards, his father's medical bills he'd promised to help with. All minimums he couldn't meet. Bankruptcy lawyer says Chapter 7. Fresh start. But Melissa's lawyer says that makes me look worse in custody hearings. He folded the envelope. So I work 15 hours a day when I can get it. Labor ready, day work, anything. Tommy, why are you here? Because Frank says I need to apologize. To everyone I hurt. He looked at me directly. Including you. Me? You didn't hurt me. I made you complicit. Every dealer I sat in front of, I made part of my destruction. That's on me, but it happened to you. Before I could respond, his phone rang. Melissa? Yeah? Now. But okay. Okay. He hung up, face pale. Rebecca's sick. Fever. They're going to the ER. He started toward the door, then turned back. If I never come back, Marcus, remember this. The house always wins, but it's not the house that beats you. You beat yourself. The house just watches. Then he was gone, running to his truck, racing toward a daughter he'd barely met and probably couldn't afford to save. 2 weeks passed. Christmas decorations went up around the casino, fake snow, tinsel, lights that blinked in patterns designed to hypnotize. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Celebrating the season of giving in a place designed for taking. Tommy's chair stayed empty Tuesday nights. Other players filled it, lost their money, moved on. The cycle continued. Then December 17th, Denise showed me something on her phone. An obituary in the Indiana papers. That's not him, I said immediately. The name was wrong. Robert something. Read it. Robert Thomas Brennan, 58, after complications from heart surgery. Survived by son Thomas, grandson Rebecca, Tommy's father. The one he'd borrowed against his truck to help. The one whose hospital room he'd skipped to gamble. Jesus, I said. Gets worse. Look at the date. December 3rd. The same night Tommy had run from my table to the hospital. He'd been going to his father, not his daughter. That Tuesday, Tommy showed up one last time. He looked destroyed. Not the gradual destruction of gambling, but the immediate devastation of grief. He sat at my table, still not playing, just staring at his hands. He died while I was driving there, he said quietly. 40 minutes. If I'd left when he called, you couldn't have known. I chose this place over my dying father. He pulled out a small box. He left me this. Inside was a poker chip. Old, worn smooth. From the Flamingo, the place his father used to play. His lucky chip. Carried it 40 years. Never cashed it. Tommy turned it over. $18. That's what his luck was worth. Tommy, Melissa won't let me see Rebecca anymore. Says I'm unstable. Grief and addiction, bad combination. He stood to leave. You know what the worst part is? She's right. He left the chip. On the table. For you, he said. A reminder. Every player has a father, a daughter, a life. Remember that when you deal. I still have that chip. $18 I'll never cash. It sits on my dresser, a reminder of Tommy Brennan and the $14,600 that cost him everything. The last time I saw him was 3 weeks later, January, outside a GA meeting. He was 90 days clean, working construction. Again, living in a halfway house that he didn't see me. I didn't approach. Some wreckage is too complete for words. January turned brutal. Sleet, snow, the kind of cold that made the casino parking lot a skating rink. Inside, the temperature never changed. Always 72 degrees. Always fluorescent bright. Always promising that the next hand would be different. That I'd started keeping my own notebook, like Denise. Not about players, about myself. How many dealers I'd watched burn out. How many marriages ended. How many times I'd gone home feeling like an accomplice to destruction. You're getting soft, Denise said one night, finding me in the break room, staring at Tommy's father's chip. Can't save them all. Can't save any of them. Now you're learning. February brought news through the dealer network. Tommy had made it to 120 days clean, had a steady job with a construction crew in Indiana, close enough to see Rebecca if Melissa ever changed her mind. Then March, and everything went quiet. No news is good news, Denise said, but we both knew better. No news meant they'd either recovered completely or destroyed themselves completely. The middle ground was where you heard stories. April, I was dealing to a new regular when he mentioned something. Crazy thing happened at the tribal casino, he said. Some guy tried to rob the cage. No weapon, just desperate. Kept saying he needed $14,600. Specific number. My hands froze mid-shuffle. When, last week, they arrested him, but then let him go. Turns out he wasn't trying to rob them, exactly. Just standing there, begging, crying. What happened to him? Security took him to the hospital. Psych hold, probably. I excused myself, told Wayne I was sick. Drove 40 miles to the tribal casino that night. The dealer Raymond worked there. Remembered Tommy. Yeah, he was here. Lost it completely. Kept saying his daughter's birthday was coming up and he had nothing to give her. Raymond shook his head. Security didn't press charges. Felt too bad for him. Where is he now? No idea. Haven't seen him since. I drove back thinking about cycles. Addiction, recovery, relapse, repeat. The gravitational pull of these places. Always dragging people back to the same chair, the same game. The same lie that this time would be different. May arrived with false hope. Spring always felt like redemption, even in a windowless casino. I'd been dealing for almost 2 years, long enough to see patterns repeat. New faces became regulars, became cautionary tales, became empty chairs. Then, May 15th, a letter arrived at the casino. Addressed to Marcus, blackjack dealer, Tuesday nights. Wayne brought it to me, curious. Fan mail. Inside, a single sheet of paper. Tommy's handwriting. Marcus, Frank says writing helps, even if you never send the letters. But I'm sending this. Rebecca is 1 year old now. Melissa sends pictures. She looks like her mother, thankfully. Nothing of me in her face, which feels like mercy. I'm 167 days clean. Living in a sober house in Fort Wayne. Work for a guy who knew my father, doesn't ask questions. Minimum wage, but it's honest that I dream about the table sometimes. Not about winning, about sitting there. The felt under my hands. The sound of chips. The possibility that existed before each deal. I wake up sweating, not from withdrawal, but from $14,600. I've paid back $2,000. Only $12,600 to go. At this rate, Rebecca will be in college before I'm clear, but I'm trying. That has to count for something that don't write back. Just wanted you to know I'm alive. That's more than some of us can say. Tommy, I kept the letter in my locker, read it between shifts. A reminder that some people make it out. Not intact, not whole, but breathing. June, July, August. No word. The summer crowd was different. Tourists, vacation gamblers, people playing with money they could afford to lose. Almost cheerful. Then September came around again. A year since Tommy had first sat down with that envelope marked rent. September 14th, exactly 1 year later, someone left something at the host stand for me, an envelope. Inside, a photo of Rebecca, taking her first steps. On the back, 13 months. Walking towards something better. No return address. No way to respond. Just proof of life, of movement, of the slow crawl away from destruction. October brought unexpected visitors. Melissa and Rebecca, standing at the casino entrance looking lost that I was on break, saw them through the windows. Rebecca in a stroller, Melissa looking older, exhausted. They weren't coming in, just standing there, staring at the building like it might explain something. I went outside. Melissa, she startled. You're Marcus. Tommy described you. Rebecca was beautiful, brown eyes like her father, but alert, present in a way Tommy never was at the table. We're not. I wouldn't bring her in there, Melissa said quickly. I wanted to see it. The place that was more important than us. It wasn't more important. He was sick. I know that now. She adjusted Rebecca's blanket. He's doing better. 10 months clean. Has supervised visits twice a month. That's good, is it? She won't remember him as the man who chose gambling over her birth. But she also won't remember him at all from this age. Melissa's voice was steady, factual. The counselor says that's perhaps a blessing. Why are you here? Closure, maybe. Or understanding. I keep trying to figure out what this place had that we didn't. I thought about how to explain it. The manufactured hope, the designed addiction, the calculated extraction of value from vulnerability. It has nothing, I said finally. That's what makes it powerful. It's empty space that people fill with their dreams. She looked at the building again. He lost $14,600. But really, he lost everything that mattered. He knows that. Good. He should. She turned the stroller around. If you see him, when you see him, because they always come back, right? Tell him she said Dada last week. First word. They left, Rebecca waving her tiny hand at nothing in particular. I went back inside to finish my shift, dealing cards to people racing toward their own variations of Tommy's story. November crushed everyone. Holidays approaching, bills mounting, desperation season. The casino offered special promotions, triple points, bonus cash back, anything to keep people in seats as their families planned Thanksgiving without them. Tommy didn't show for the one-year anniversary of his collapse. December 3rd came and went, just another Tuesday. His chair filled by a retirement-age woman who played minimum bets and told me about her grandchildren. But December 15th, Rebecca's second birthday, my phone rang at 3 a.m. Unknown Indiana number. Marcus? It's Tommy. His voice sounded different. Clearer. Tommy, how did you? Casino directory. Listen, I'm sorry to call, but I needed to tell someone. I'm 1 year clean today. Exactly. December 15th to December 15th. That's incredible. Is it? I missed her first birthday for it. Missed her second too. Melissa says maybe next year, if I keep working the program. In the background, I could hear traffic. He was at a payphone somewhere. I paid back for 1,000, he continued. Got a second job. Night janitor at a school. It's honest work. Tommy, why are you really calling? Long pause. Because I almost went back tonight. Drove to the casino, sat in the parking lot for an hour. Had 200 in my pocket from a side job. Just 200. Thought maybe I could turn it into enough to buy Rebecca something special. But you didn't go in. No. Called my sponsor instead. He talked me down. But Marcus, the want never goes away. It just gets quieter. Where are you now? Gas station. Buying cigarettes, which Frank says is just replacing one addiction with another, but at least cigarettes won't cost me my daughter. We stayed on the phone until his ride arrived. Before hanging up, he said something I'll never forget. You know what the real gamble is? Not the cards or the dice or the slots. It's betting that tomorrow you'll be stronger than today. That's the only game worth playing. The line went dead. I stood in my apartment, looking at his father's chip, thinking about cycles and redemption. And the long odds of recovery. February again. 2 years since I'd met Tommy. I'd been promoted to floor supervisor, watching other dealers enable other Tommies. The view from management was different, clearer and uglier. A letter arrived. Handwritten, no return address. Marcus, 2-year anniversary next month. They gave me a medallion at GA, heaviest thing I own. Rebecca knows my face now. Calls me Tom Tom. Not daddy, but it's something. Melissa married the high school boyfriend. Good man. Better father than I could be right now. Paid back 7,000. Halfway there. The bankruptcy lawyer says I'm crazy, but Frank says debt is just postponed consequences. Can't postpone anymore. Sometimes I do the math. If I'd won that last hand, the December 3rd hand, 21 would have paid 1,500. Would have covered rent, bought time. But time for what? More losing. There's no winning in this story. Just degrees of losing. I'm trying to lose less. Each day. Don't deal anymore. Marcus. Get out. These places are graveyards where people bury themselves alive. I kept dealing. Not because I disagreed, but because I didn't know what else to do. The money was too good, the benefits too stable. Just like Tommy with his gambling, I was trapped by the practicality of destruction. March brought news. Tommy had been promoted to crew supervisor. Legitimate income, enough to accelerate his payback schedule. The recovery community had a saying, progress, not perfection. He was progressing, but April brought different news. Raymond from the tribal casino called. Your boy was here. My heart sank. Playing. No. Working. They hired him to speak at employee training. About problem gambling. From the player's perspective. How'd it go? Security was crying. Actual tears. He told them about choosing a poker hand over his father's deathbed, about missing his daughter's birth for a blackjack table. The irony was perfect. Tommy teaching casino employees about the damaged casinos. Cause. The house hiring the man it destroyed to warn others about destruction. Today marks 3 years since Tommy Brennan first sat at my table. I don't deal anymore. Quit last month, finally. Work construction now, actually. Funny how things. Circle. Tommy sent one last letter, forwarded through the casino. Marcus, 3 years clean yesterday. Rebecca turns 4 next month. Melissa's letting me take her to the zoo. Supervised, but still $14,600. That number owned me. Now I own it. Paid back. Every cent took 3 years, for months, but it's done. The zoo ticket costs $18. Same as my father's lucky chip. Sometimes the universe has a sense of humor that I drive past the casino sometimes. On purpose. Frank says it's dangerous, but I need to see it. Need to remember it's just a building. Bricks and lights and empty promises. You asked me once if I ever felt free. I do now. Not from want. That never leaves. But from the weight. $14,600 worth of weight. Rebecca doesn't know about any of this. Someday, I'll tell her how her father chose cards over presents, how addiction is hereditary, how to recognize the signs, but not yet. For now, she knows Tom Tom takes her to feed ducks and push her on swings and never misses a visit anymore. That's enough. Thank you for witnessing my destruction. Strange thing to thank someone for, but someone needed to see it. To remember that if you're still dealing, stop. If you've stopped, stay stopped. These places feed on hope and shit out despair. TommyP.S. Keep my father's chip. Remember that every player who sits down is someone's father, mother, child. They're not just buying entertainment. They're selling their souls, one hand at a time. I did keep the chip. It's on my desk now, next to my hard hat. $18 I'll never cash, from a man I never met, whose son lost everything at my table. Tommy was right. The house always wins. But not for me. Not anymore. Last week, I saw him at a hardware store. Buying lumber, Rebecca on his shoulders, pointing at different colors of paint. He saw me, nodded once. We didn't speak. What was there to say? He loaded his truck, a different one, older but paid for, and drove away. Rebecca waved at me through the window, not knowing who I was. Just a stranger in a parking lot. That's all I ever was, really. A stranger who dealt cards while a man destroyed himself. One hand at a time. $14,600. That's what a life costs. Apparently, that's what the house charges for hope.